I think I think on the left, we always tell ourselves the things that we can't do. And not everything has to be violent revolution. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you look at my organization, you'll see what type of stuff we be on. But um, I think that there's a way to be financially violent and economically violent that we just don't talk about. And yes, the organizing would be tedious, but old school organizing, knocking on doors, and people where they're at, that stuff works. Talking to some of the existing militant labor movements that are already happening across the country and starting to connect them so we can start to build the infrastructure for those general strikes. We have farmers that are upset that I'm sure that if we can find some way to stand in solidarity, there are farmers that could provide food and all these other things. Like, there are creative ways to build these infrastructures. And I think that especially our generation, like, we're thinking about those creative ways to build that infrastructure. We're thinking about those bridges to build. I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm 25 years old. I was having dinner with somebody the other day, and they asked me what my plan is. Like, what am I going to do for the next whatever, what my career is going to be? And I literally had to tell her to her face, like, I have no idea. And there are so many people that are in my age bracket that feel like they have no future whatsoever. That after a decade, are we even going to be able to afford anything? Is there going to be an earth that is habitable enough for us to build a future, to build a life? Are we going to have Social Security? Are we going to have any of these things? Like, that is the stuff that our generation is talking about. So I think that if we spend more time talking about the history of direct action in this country, if we spend more time talking about the strikes that are happening all across the world right now, because they're happening, then we can actually build that movement. We can build those things. There are many other things that are happening on top of this abortion ban. People are economically squeezed in this country. People cannot afford rent. They can't afford food. We have so many unhoused people in this country. Like, we can change things if we try to organize for it. I just get very frustrated with the we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this conversation. We should do the same thing the right is doing, hitting them at all sides. Electorally, we should be organizing outside of the government. We should be organizing locally, on our local government level. We should be organizing on the federal government level. We should be organizing some of our own public defenders and all these other people to get in these court appointments, to get in these seats, and to legislate the way we want to legislate. We should start to talk about what it looks like to have a constitutional convention, because even Thomas Jefferson himself, all these originalists, even Thomas Jefferson himself said that with each generation, that Constitution needs to die, and that the Constitution needs to be updated every 20 years. The right is already organizing for that. So it's not that these things are impossible. It's not that these things are impossible. We can, and we should, period. We need to stop telling people what we can't do, because people's lives are literally on the line. Period. Organize. Take the time to get to know your neighbors, and start with a small group if you have to. My grassroots org is only 6 people deep, but we get a lot of work done. We get a lot of work done. If you have any questions on how to organize or how to start your own grassroots organization, how to feed people in your community, please DM me, because we are definitely in the business of spreading the good word and teaching people how to do mutual aid that is effective, that is sustainable, and that is actually transformative. So